What's up? Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I'm Morrow, your storyteller for today, and with me we have some more RPG horror stories. I've been feeling very cranky lately, and I apologize if it comes off in the videos. My sleep has been absolutely decimated and horrible. I can't get a wink of sleep. I mean, I can sleep, but I just constantly wake up like 4 or 5 times a night, and it's terrible. So if I come off a little bit passionate, or a little bit cranky, or a little bit too emotional through videos, I am sorry ahead of time. It's not you, it's me and my sleep. Anyway, let's get some RPG horror stories for today. The Three Butt Pirates, also alternative title, Harry Potter RPG Horror Story. Part 1, Content Warning, Butt Plugs. So for context's sake, without getting too in-depth, like the butt plug, sorry. We're playing Wands and Wizards, a D&D 5e homebrew based on Harry Potter. I'm a lady and was playing a stoic female Ravenclaw, while the other 2 players were a lady playing an easygoing female Hufflepuff and a gentleman playing a mischievous female Slytherin, who ended up becoming a Gryffindor thanks to the DM changing her whole character. But that's another horror story. The DM paired each one of our characters to one of his 3 DMPCs for predetermined romance subplots. The Slytherin got not Voldemort, the Hufflepuff got non-Albert Wesker, and while Ravenclaw got not Sephiroth. I'll spare you everything that happened prior and just skip to the weird part. So the party found themselves in the bathroom of the Hogwarts Express, and 2 of the DMPCs were trying to hide a poor knocked out Hufflepuff. Okay, I gotta be honest, it reads a little bit less like a D&D campaign and more like a fan fiction, like throw together. Also, isn't like Strixhaven, I could be completely wrong, but isn't Strixhaven basically supposed to be Hogwarts but D&D? Or am I wrong with that? In the middle of the comedic back and forth between the party and the DMPCs, the Slytherin, being a cute little gremlin, blurted out, "You were having gay butt bang," at the DMPCs. The DMPCs got all flustered and apparated away. Apparated like an apparition? Do they just go like and just disappear? Suddenly the DM said the Slytherin feels something stuck in her rear. Again, she was a gremlin and a germaphobe, so she spread her cheeks at the Hufflepuff and my Ravenclaw, and they found a Slytherin-themed butt plug up her anus. I have no words. I genuinely have no words. Part of me is thoroughly confused on why. Neither of them wanted to touch it, so the Hufflepuff tried to pull it out using Wingardium Leviosa. She failed her roll and got stuffed with a Hufflepuff butt plug. My Ravenclaw tried to do the same with the Hufflepuff BP. She also failed her roll and got a Ravenclaw BP. Are you gonna tell me your DM is just trying to shove BPs? I'm gonna start using BPs because I don't know if YouTube's gonna be like going super crazy. I don't know how many times I can say the word butt and the word plug together in a sentence next to each other before it flags the video completely. So BP it is from now on. But is the DM trying to force BPs up your characters for why? Turns out, not Voldemort curses Slytherin with a BP as a payback for that gay butt bang comment, and the BP was cursed to spread to anybody who tried to remove it with magic. Oh, okay, so just the DM being upset. Okay, that's not entirely normal in the slightest, but let's keep reading. At this point, my Ravenclaw was over this nonsense, pulled out her own BP the Muggle way, and observed that it is indeed a BP based on her Hogwarts house. And the others got the same. She was also both a Team Mom character and a No Shame character, so she just walked up to the Slytherin and yanked out the BP from her. My Ravenclaw was prepared to do the same for the Hufflepuff. The Hufflepuff still wanted to preserve some dignity, took care of that on her own. My Ravenclaw, being shameless, handed the Slytherin's BP to the Slytherin and asked if she wanted it. Of course she had no, and it disappeared. My Ravenclaw and the Hufflepuff decided to keep theirs. Why? Wrap them in manifest flowers and put them in their pockets. But we're trying to find humor in a weird situation, in character and out. But those things didn't disappear. Apparently they only disappear if you don't want them. Pretty sure our characters didn't want them up there to begin with, but Once that was over, the party started plotting their revenge. The DM had a house elf give the Hufflepuff a magic menu that adds whatever food she wants to be served in the Great Hall for dinner when they get to Hogwarts. I guess the menu sensed that the Hufflepuff and her friends wanted to get back at not Voldemort for inappropriately plugging them, so it materialized a special order section specifically for not Voldemort. They could choose what he would be served to eat, how long he would have to eat it, a day, a week, or a month, and what meals he would have to eat it for. My Ravenclaw said that the food should be based on the BP incident, So she suggested a roast bird representing Ravenclaw, stuffed, because BPs, with snakes, representing Slytherin. She also suggested the bird in question be a chicken, but the Slytherin insisted it should be a roast turkey stuffed with snails instead. The Hufflepuff was too nice to add anything representing Hufflepuff to this food nightmare. I'm gonna go ahead and interject and just say something that probably maybe people won't agree with, but maybe it's a different dynamic. Maybe you guys were friends and stuff, and that's the kind of humor you had, and whatever you do at your private table is whatever you do at your private table. But if your DM is doing something gross that you not agree with, you just tell him that you don't want that, and then just move on to the next thing, not continue with grossness on top of grossness. Because what if the DM is into that sort of thing? What if they're trying to egg you on because that's their like weird kink or something? Then you kind of just playing up to the entertainment, not really like proving out what's for or anything. You're just playing up to their fetishes, which is gross. Anyway, the party decided the snail stuffed turkey should be served to not Voldemort for breakfast every day for a month. Once they were done, the DM said that Ravenclaw hears whispering coming from the bathroom wall. Plot twist, not Voldemort wasn't the only culprit behind the BP incident, or whatever year it was in the campaign. All three of the DMPC Sims were hiding in a secret room and laughing at how they assaulted the party's rectums. Fortunately, the party was allowed to discover and humiliate them for what they did. The Slytherin screamed at not Voldemort and called him a pervert. The Hufflepuff slapped not Albert Wesker and called him a pervert. And while Ravenclaw skipped the insult and the slapping and just verbally destroyed not Sephiroth with the facts and logic behind shoving ABP into an unsuspecting girl's rectum. At that moment, that snail-stuffed turkey was to be served to all three of them at the sorting ceremony feast. Am I gonna get in trouble for saying the word rectum? I mean, technically it's a medically defined term, I suppose. Whatever. This video is probably gonna be demonetized anyway, and let's see how this story plays out. It was the best we could do against OP self-insert power fantasies like them. Did I mention that we were all supposed to be first years? You know what? The fact that you mention that now, yeah, no, you probably should just quit. And you probably should just told the DM that you're not interested in that sort of thing and to retcon everything and just not do it if you didn't want to do it. But I feel like you guys are just playing up to what the DM wants y'all to do, because the DM is kind of egging y'all on by giving you this option for revenge and stuff, which is just really strange and weird. If you feel uncomfortable with the situation, you don't try to bend it around to play around with it. If you're genuinely uncomfortable, you remove yourself out of the situation as soon as possible, because dealing with it is probably just not worth it at this point. At this point, you maybe wonder why we all stayed after a weird incident like that. Well, because we had fun trolling the DM. Did you really though? Or is it like, it was the DM allowing y'all this sort of thing? Because like at the end of the day, if you are trolling the DM or trolling the DM, it's only because the DM allows that sort of thing to happen. What if the DM, hypothetically, was into that sort of thing and this was their kink? Probably shouldn't have just engaged in any further and just clapped it down immediately. That's what I would have done, but I digress. My Ravenclaw went numb and stopped reacting to all the humiliate the PC, made the NPC look good, and remove player agency moments because they happen so often. The DM pulled some crap to restore her emotions though, so I had to deal with subdued emotions for her to keep their rebellion going. The Slytherin called attention to how many BS moments occur by saying said BS is normal and happens all the time. Predicted BS moments that will most likely happen in game to try and discourage the DM from going through with them, actively attempted to catch the DM off guard by butting in with something spontaneous before any of the DMPCs can do something quote-unquote cool, and did all this in character under the guise of his character being quirky and her divination manifest as good intuition and having hunches. Fun fact, when the DM tried to introduce another not Albert Wesker DMPC after killing off his old one and retconning him as being a robot created by the real DMPC, the Slytherin in character called this new DMPC by the old DMPC's name, and the DM quickly lost his nerve and had the DMPC run off to turn into a werewolf XD. I need an ale. I'm having a really difficult time keeping up with it. This doesn't feel like Harry Potter. It feels like someone's terrible, horrible, poorly written fan fiction. The Hufflepuff, also in character, would just straight up tell the DMPC to screw off and let her talk to her friends. Fortunately, the DM didn't usually stop the session to antagonize the players directly, so you just had the DMPCs throw a hissy fit, say they're not gonna help the PCs the next time they're in danger, and storm off. So yeah, we weren't happy with the bad DMing moments, but we were managing. Plus, the DM did make genuine fun fun moments too. Managing is not playing. If you're playing a game, then you're playing a game, but managing, when the DM constantly throws in these NPCs for annoyance, why not just ask the DM to stop doing that? Skip all that nonsense and then just continue playing the game how it's supposed to be played, with like a Harry Potter-esque theme adventure, without crap NPCs that are trying to antagonize you in game and out of game, and the DM that tries to be some combative antagonist. This sounds like a DM that's half-assing things, and half of it is just torture and boring and annoying, and half of it is kind of fun because you guys aren't playing, you're managing. Unfortunately, the bad DMing eventually affected my enjoyment so much that showing up to sessions began to feel less and less like an opportunity for fun and more like an obligation to not leave the party hanging. Thanks to my own anxiety and some of the sessions grinding to a screeching halt so the DM and the Slytherin can argue for about an hour or so, I couldn't bring myself to tell the DM that I wasn't having fun. I just stopped showing up and the DM let me go. Later on, after listening to some feedback from the players, he said he was gonna scrap the old campaign and make a brand new one. As for me, I tried a D&D 5e game that felt better, but there was a misunderstanding and that I ended up getting kicked for no show or no call. Now I'm trying to help one of my friends get either an unwritten or vampire game started with him as the DM and me as a player. To end on a high note, during the dessert of the sorting ceremony feast, and yes, the DMPCs got their snail stuffed turkey for dinner, the house elves came up to Hufflepuff to get her to plan tomorrow's breakfast, while Ravenclaw suggested she'd add bacon, eggs, toast, pancakes, waffles, French toast, and crepes with a side of maple syrup to the menu. After the pancakes were manifested, a werewolf NPC and reformed DMPC snuck into the kitchen, stole a crap ton of pancakes, and just started running around the school with his haul while the house elves chased him. It was freaking adorable, and it made all of us in and out of character smile. Well, at least you appreciate some of the upsides of this thing, because this sounds like a disaster. I feel like I haven't provided enough information on just how frustrating this campaign was, so I've included a screenshot of the list of criticisms I gave to the DM. You keep making changes to the PCs, NPCs, story, and world, hiding behind somebody cast a spell or use a time tuner as an excuse whenever you do. You keep throwing us into unwinnable situations regardless of it if they actually make sense or not. Seriously, some random trash wizard has a spell that can counter telekinesis when it was established to not be magical and something only Sabrina specifically can do. You keep arguing with Slytherin mid-session, either in character or out. You keep incorporating things that aren't from Harry Potter, D&D, Final Fantasy, Resident Evil, Yu-Gi-Oh, etc. There's too much gross-out humor, especially involving fat people. Keep pushing those 3 NPCs at us and playing up how important and powerful they are for their age. Yes, they still have these issues, even now that they're not as stand-ins for Sephiroth, Wesker, and Voldemort. And you do things that either don't make sense in general or ignore things already established in Harry Potter. Super unforgivable curses? Really? Also, Harry Potter already has a winged horses, and one of them was the Pegasus from the mythology. If you want a Pegasus hybrid creature, it would have made more sense to have it be a cross between a unicorn and a winged horse and calling it a winged unicorn. From that screenshot alone, I can tell that you weren't having fun, though. Why did you stick around for this long in the first place? For context, DM loved using Obliviate, the forgetfulness charm, as an excuse to change things, including our characters' backstories without even asking us, oh, this happened to your character, but they don't remember because somebody used Obliviate on them. Either that or a false memory spell of some kind that hid the truth from everyone except a select few. Time turners are magical devices used to time travel. Among the many time travel shenanigans that DM put us through, one of them was erasing Harry Potter's fame and significance in canon. And in the middle of a conversation about him, our characters were having too. Also, one of the DMPCs split his soul up into multiple people across multiple timelines so he could learn all the magic he could, and the different selves started wearing each other or something. I don't know. We're all confused about that. The trash wizard was an NPC who drew his magical power from how dirty he was. He was bullying another NPC who was also a DMPC because split personalities, and when my Ravenclaw tried to protect him, the trash wizard started tormenting my Ravenclaw by making her smell like trash, stuffing her mouth full of foul-smelling, maggot-infested cheese, so she can't cast spells, dumping a dumpster load of garbage on her, and summoning a giant vacuum cleaner to suck up the mind power she needed for her telekinesis or whatever logic was. His only weakness was to clean him with water, but none of us knew Aquamenti, the water-making spell. The germophobic Slytherin had to, no joke, lick the disgusting toes of another NPC just to get her to cast Aquamenti on the trash wizard for us. At least my Ravenclaw got to sock him in the face for it after that. Were you guys playing with a 10-year-old that just talked about gross things? This sounds so beyond juvenile and disgusting. Okay, so either you're playing with a 10-year-old DM, right? Your DM DM is literally a 10-year-old that thinks gross and stinky things are funny, haha, or you're playing with a fetish freak. One of those two. Because you're definitely not playing with somebody fucking normal. You're either playing with literally a child that finds stinky humor haha poo poo funny, or you're playing with somebody who's a fetish freak that is actually like cranking it as y'all are doing this whole thing. Just under the desk, just cranking the whole time. Why didn't y'all leave early on if this is the kind of stuff you had to deal with at first? I'm very upset and disappointed with what DM is doing, but I'm kind of disappointed with y'all as well for sticking around for this long. For real. Why? Why'd y'all stick around for this long? What was the point? What fun is there to deal with a stink wizard that forces you to have maggot cheese and forces y'all to lick someone's toes to learn a create or destroy water spell? Why? To my knowledge, telekinesis isn't a thing in Harry Potter, but the DM gave Mount Ravenclaw a backstory involving human experimentation that used both wizard magic and muggle science, and she had non-magical telekinesis unique to her because of it. Unfortunately, most of the time, it only worked when the DM said it did, otherwise it was blocked or just too weak, regardless of what or even if I rolled. Sabrina is the first name of my Ravenclaw. Her last name used to be Blackwood, but then she ended up becoming the heir to Ravenclaw house, so her last name became Ravenclaw. I agreed to this backstory change though, don't worry. This is the last thing I'm worried about. I'm worried for y'all's sanity and why y'all stuck around with this. The name censored in green is Liz Slytherin, not sharing the DM's name either. One argument I remember was over the DM's unwillingness to think of solutions that didn't involve his DMPCs. Another was something the Hufflepuff told me. Apparently they once had an argument over the Slytherin's character asking for water. Both of these arguments lasted for at least an hour. Like bottled water or water out the tap? Your DM is definitely a 10-year-old. 100%. It have to be. Also, why are you all entertaining this DM in the first place? Why are you entertaining an argument over water? I already mentioned the Final Fantasy and Resident Evil stuff, but apparently the D&D world and the wizarding world are one and the same in this campaign, just in different eras. Stuff that was in D&D but not Harry Potter was often included, such as characters, red dragons, orcs, some painting things that took damage for you or something, etc. As for Yu-Gi-Oh, the DM tried incorporating the Millennium items into the plot and making the Cup of Hufflepuff one of them, while Ravenclaw had a talk with Hadar, who was inside the Millennium Ring instead of Yami Bakura, and by the end of the talk he gave her what I could only describe as a curse mark straight out of Naruto. The scene even reminded me of when Orochimaru gave Sasuke his curse mark. At least Hadar didn't extend his neck and bite my Ravenclaw's neck to do it. Alright, I'm forever convinced now that you guys weren't playing in a campaign, you guys were playing someone's fan fiction. Straight up. It sounds like a fan fiction and it's less like a interesting world to explore. Besides the gross out stuff that was already mentioned, we had vomit-inducing farts, getting toilet paper farted in our faces, bad breath, burps, and some random fat guy that stuffed all 3 of the party members into this shirt to slather us in his belly button cheese for seemingly no reason other than lol, it's funny because he's a smelly fat guy. Okay, I'ma just go ahead and say y'all chose this torture method. This torture method was very must have been blatant to see. Must have been. Y'all had so many ways of getting out of this, but y'all chose to stick around and see what else is there. Either y'all gluttons for punishment, maybe you'll held at gunpoint, maybe y'all would just held at gunpoint in order to stay in this campaign, because I don't know a reasonable person that would read that part that I just read about all the gross stuff and belly button cheese and find it remotely interesting or funny or entertaining or anything. Your DM is clearly 10. Are you guys 10 too? I just don't understand. I don't get it. I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on here. Who in the right mind would want to stay in this campaign after all this? I'm actually mad at you guys. I'm mad at you. I'm mad at you, OP, and I'm mad at your group of friends for sticking around with this DM and not just fucking off somewhere already. It sounds mean, but like, you guys stuck around for this whole thing. You could have left any time. You could have said something and you just kind of dipped out and not dealt with it and seen that, man, this is not going the right way. You had many opportunities, but you're still stuck around this whole thing. Why? Well, Ravenclaw tried to take a shower after that, but the DM made the experience as miserable as possible for her by making the bathroom absolutely filthy and booby-trapped thanks to some random unknown pranksters. Crab-smeared stalls, a bar soap covered in hair, a booby-trapped shower that only gave... Not Sephiroth became Necromancer with Undead Army, not Albert Wesker became Half-Goblin Nerd with Millennium Ring, and not Voldemort just lost the Voldemort traits, I guess. They were running some kind of supernatural conspiracy at Hogwarts, were part of some kind of prophecy involving the number tree, and were able to hide all the dark magic activities from the faculty. And in case you forgot, the students, the NPCs included, are all supposed to be 11-year-old kids. Yeah, but this is a fanfiction world, so none of the laws of reality really matter at this point, do they? The unforgivable curses are 3 spells. Avada Kedavra kills the target immediately, Crucio tortures the target with the most excruciating pain imaginable, and Imperio brainwashes the target. By definition and execution, they're all supposed to be one of the absolutely worst things you can do to a human being. So imagine my confusion and disbelief when the DM pulled out super unforgivable curses, modified version of the original curses that were somehow even worse, and invented by, you guessed it, the same 3D NPCs from the BP incident. Not surprising at this point. The DM played around with hybrid magic creatures. Along them was a basilisk phoenix, a cockatrice phoenix, and the hippogriff unicorn Pegasus mentioned in a screenshot. I just couldn't give a crap anymore. Oh really? This is the time when you just couldn't give a crap. Not after the initial BP incident, not after the initial few incidents. It's at this point you decide not to give a crap. I just wish you would have not gave a crap earlier, because you probably could have avoided a lot of this nonsense. Because this is nonsense. This is just torture. This is an exercise in self-torture. By willingly volunteering to be part of this self-torture, disguised as a poorly written, badly put together, really crappy sounding fan fiction of a D&D homebrew game. And honestly, I don't think I'm gonna be playing with strangers anymore after that, and a misunderstanding with a different DM. I don't want to quit TTRPGs as a whole, and I probably won't. But as a brand new player, these things did not give me a good impression of the hobby. If my friends' plans for a campaign ever come to fruition, hopefully I'll have a real experience. Wait, so you're new? You're brand new into TTRPG and this is your new... Ooh, okay. Well, that might change things a little bit, but the fact that you have such a high tolerance for nonsense is rather upsetting to me. Listen, okay, assuming you're brand new and have no experience, if you get into a game that makes you feel uncomfortable, or some of the themes about it just don't seem fun to you, just leave, don't participate, don't be part of it, don't have it be part of your regular thing, regular schedule. If it doesn't sound fun to you, doesn't seem fun to you, don't play it. Don't force yourself to play it. There's another part of the story, and we're already too deep. We might as well read it. Might as well. My sanity might hurt from it, but we're gonna read it anyway. Content warning, the unthinkable. Here's another gross up moment from this campaign. On the Hogwarts Express, seriously, a lot of the worst crap happened before we even got to Hogwarts. There was a student who was clipping her toenails in... You know? No, I don't think I will. Your DM is either a freak or a 10-year-old that has a funny haha reaction to anything that's gross or having to do with feet, or they have a foot fetish, and there's probably going to be gross things happening, but you know what? I refuse to read further. Thank you so much for your story submission. Keep yourself from playing these sort of games, and stay away from bad and players that want you to play in their fan fiction, badly written, terribly written fan fiction gross games, but it's probably just a tool for someone's fetish at this point. That's the only reasonable thing. Either your DM was a 10-year-old, or this is someone's fetish, and somebody was just cranking it while y'all were playing it. And with that, that's gonna be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales Tomorrow. Bye-bye.